Hello, welcome back to 9 Years in China. Teacher Kenny here. I know you're wanting to check in with me every video. You do that. Every time there's a new video, you watch it and you subscribe. Remember, everything I talk about is things that happened to me, things I've seen and did, my opinions of my time in China. Everything just comes from me. It's not right or wrong to some people, but it is what it is. It's just how I saw things and how I think. And today, here on this little video, talking about whether we should fail students or not. I was an oral English teacher, a spoken English teacher, and my primary thing to do is just get the kids talking. Do what others cannot do. It's hard. It's hard to get Chinese teachers to get the kids to talking and help them through a lot of mistakes. There's just a difference between the foreign teacher, the actual native English speaker, which is the people they listen to on their tests. They either listen to Americans or they're British or Australian usually when they do their test. Their CET and TEM, any of the English tests. Listening is a big, big deal. So they need the foreign teacher in there to listen to anyhow. But mainly my job was just to get them to speaking, find fun, creative ways to engage them in conversation. And I was really good at it. And all I ever asked of a student, my philosophy was everybody in the class was an 80, was a B student until they proved better or worse. And that's how I approached my grading. Was the old classic, an 80 to 84 is a B, and 85 to 89 is a B plus, the way we graded, when I was in school. Now, the Chinese, though, they live for bigger tests. In America, we may have many small tests in one semester test, and we average everything. They really don't do that in China like that. But it comes a time that some students you got to decide whether they're going to pass or they're going to fail. And I really don't believe in failing somebody in my kind of class unless they really are terrible, really, really terrible. And usually if a student is really, really terrible, it's because they don't care, they won't engage, they won't play in class, or they don't come to class. And sometimes I would get real sticky on coming to class because usually me and the schools had this philosophy. Most of the schools I taught at, if you miss 3 classes in a semester, you're going to fail. Unless you're sick or something. And that was always my belief. And here's the deal. When I come to class, I didn't always call roll. Probably only half the time I would actually call roll to see who's in class. But I knew who was missing. But when I call roll, it gets their attention really quick. And if you miss 3 times that I call roll, it's usually pretty bad. And so that was one of my big deals. If you came to class, if you did your job, I just have them one time a week, 45 minutes, most of the time, except for the English majors I taught earlier in Fuyang and Shangzhou and stuff. Then I'd have them for 2 periods, and we could do a lot. Lots of talking, lots of teaching, but not always. That's not always the case. And I've had some extraordinary things. It's kind of funny, but I'll just tell you a couple stories. In China, everything's about saving face for one. And if a student gets into trouble, they don't want it spread around. They don't want their head teachers to know, blah blah blah. and they're usually very willing to work with you once you put them on notice that they might fail your class. And especially if a Chinese student failed a class with a foreign teacher, that's really, really embarrassing for them. I had, in my second year, I had the monitor almost fail. I always thought it was his girlfriend that was the actual real monitor, because she's the one that always spoke and took on any kind of obligation or task that needed to be done. And come to find out, it was actually the boyfriend. And it come this time here where I had 3 marks on him, and I told her that he needs to talk to me or he will fail my class. And he came to class immediately when I told her that, and he was just missing class to watch TV, sleep. So I kind of read him the riot act, and I told him, I said, when we do our test, you better be here or else. And he was. But he was the monitor. He was the leader of the class. He was the actual monitor of the class, and he was putting all the burden on the girlfriend. And also, when I don't know what it was about Huainan students. They were fun kids, but I had some real memories of there. I had another boy in another class. Same thing. He's 3 strikes. He's out. And I told him, you just cannot do it, and I'm forced to fail you. So he went and told the head teacher, and we had already started testing. By the time all this got around, we'd already done our semester test, or we're on the last day or whatever. So the teacher gets a hold of me, and we talk about the boy. And I told the truth. I told him, I said, this guy, he's missed 3 times or more. I know he's missed more, but I got on record that he missed 3 times. And he said, I'll bring you the student, and you can test him. Because remember, they just don't want their kids to fail, especially for the foreign teacher. It just looks really, really terrible. And sure enough, I got home after class. This was early in the afternoon. I just finished lunch, blah, 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 blah. Hear the knocking on the door. And it's basically the head teacher. He's got this kid by the scruff of the neck kind of attitude. And he brings that boy in, and we do our test. And back then in Huainan, I was listening. I had ways of testing basic pronunciation, let him do a little reading and kind of summarize a little conversation, his ability. It wouldn't take 10 minutes, but he was in there, and we took the test, and he was actually not too bad. He was actually pretty good, but it was very serious that he at least took the test. If I failed him, it was just because he just couldn't do it. But like I said, the way I set my classes up, you're at least an 80 until you prove otherwise. But anyhow, we got him to pass, and he did okay. But I've had this stuff repeatedly happen, throughout my tenure in China, and they don't want, their kids to fail. I've actually given an oral English test minutes before turning my grades in. Be in the office getting ready to turn my grades in, and some kid comes out of the woodwork that I had scratched off because he missed class, and he's taking his test. In my last year in China, I had why is it always boys? The girls always seem to come to class. I had another boy, and I've been watching him kind of careful, and he got his 3 strikes, and I went back there and told his friends that he always sat with, I said, if he does not come see me, he will fail. And first things first, within 10 minutes of me telling his friends, this boy is at the classroom door, where he should be in the class, but he's at the classroom door. So the first thing I do, I'm really not in a good mood about this boy. So I grabbed one of my good students that understood English very well, and we went out in the hall. And I kind of read the boy the riot act again, let him know he has responsibilities to me, not just all the other teachers. And I said, we're going to be testing next week. If you come in and you take your test and you do all right, you'll pass. But as of today, you are not passing. I will fail you. And he was in the next class. He took his test. He did all right. He's fine. That just goes to show you guys that students can really, really try to stretch you out if you're a teacher in China because they think you don't understand anything or whatever their philosophy is. But you are a teacher and you have to make sure they do what they need to do. And that's what I did. I don't want to ever fail. I never ever wanted to fail a student. I just want to see them do good. And I always made them know that's all I wanted from them. So again, a little bit about failing students. It's up to you as the teacher to do it, but just remember that if you're teaching in China, they don't want you to fail a student if it's all possible. So anyhow, have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.